The year didn't end loudly. No countdown, no fireworks, no witnesses. It turned the way dawn turns into dusk. I came here to disappear for a night. A cabin, a forest, the kind of silence that pretends it's harmless. The stove still remembers hands that are gone. The woods keep time differently, and they are very patient about it. Every place insists it's just a place. They all lie. Something in this house listens. Something in the woods moves, like it's deciding whether I belong here or not. The past isn't chasing me, it's waiting. The future feels negotiable.
Episode 2. After their early morning trip to the cafe in town, they entered the house just before noon. The timing mattered more than she wanted to admit. Noon light was honest. It didn't exaggerate. It didn't turn corners into threats or shadows into shapes. It spread evenly through the rooms, flattening what might have felt dramatic at any other hour. It made the house look ordinary, which helped. Casper went in first, as he always did. He stopped just inside the doorway, paws planted, body still. His nose lifted, his ears angled forward. He stood like that for a moment, listening, smelling, checking the quiet the way only he could, as if the house might confess something if pressed hard enough. Nothing obvious had. Her sister shut the door behind them, the sound solid but not loud. The latch clicked into place with a familiarity that settled something small inside her chest. They didn't talk. They didn't need to. There was no discussion to be had, no plan to finalize. They both knew where they were going. The house seemed to know too, its long hallway drawing them inward without comment. Uncle Ben's office sat at the back of the house. It always had, removed from the rest of the rooms, tucked away like something meant to be approached deliberately. The door was closed. It usually was. Casper reached it before either of them and sat down directly in front of it, facing the wood as if waiting for instruction. Her sister paused. "That's new," she said quietly. She opened the door. The room smelled like paper and old wood, not dust exactly, more like the echo of handling. Sunlight came through the narrow window and landed directly on the desk, catching suspended dust and turning it slow and visible, each particle drifting lazily through the beam as if time moved differently here. The desk dominated the room, heavy, scarred. Its surface carried marks that hadn't been polished away, only worn smooth with years of use. One leg had been reinforced with a piece of darker wood, a practical fix that didn't pretend to be invisible. She remembered Uncle Ben sitting there, booted legs stretched out, the other ending just below the knee. The prosthetic had always leaned neatly against the wall, within reach, never hidden, never treated like something that needed explanation. He had never hidden it. Casper walked in, circled once, then lay down beneath the desk with a soft huff, settling like he'd done it 100 times before. They searched without speaking. Drawers slid open, cabinets creaked, old folders were lifted and replaced. The room filled with the soft, constant sound of paper moving, not frantic, methodical, careful. They found the restaurant papers first. Permits, old menus printed on thick stock, notes written in a steady, practiced hand, lists, measurements, adjustments made in margins. The restaurant's name appeared again and again, always spelled the same way, always underlined once, never twice. Her sister stacked them neatly, tapping the edges against the desk until they aligned. Then she opened the bottom drawer of the desk. Inside was a photograph. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She simply held it out. In the photo, Uncle Ben stood in uniform, younger than she'd ever known him, posture straighter, smile smaller, like it hadn't yet learned how to soften. Beside him was another man, arms slung over his shoulder. They were both laughing at something outside the frame, caught mid-moment, unaware of whoever had raised the camera. The photo had been folded once, then carefully flattened again, the crease still faintly visible. Casper lifted his head and watched them, eyes following the photograph as it moved. "He never talked about him," her sister said. "No," she replied, "but he kept him." They didn't tell the rest. They both knew Uncle Ben had been injured on duty, that he'd lost his foot, that another man hadn't come back at all. Some facts lived in the family the way furniture did, always there, rarely addressed. They pat the photo back. Casper exhaled softly and rested his chin on his paws. "After the day's labor, we decided a warm meal will do us justice." The diner sat just off the main road, exactly where it always had. A low building with wide windows that reflected more sky than town. The paint was faded in places, but the shape of it hadn't changed. The bell above the door still rang when they entered, its sound bright and familiar, ringing longer than necessary before settling. An old woman stood behind the counter. She didn't ask what they wanted. She brought soup first, then bread, then plates of food they hadn't ordered, setting them down with quiet efficiency. "Eat," she said, already turning away. The food was good, simple, too much of it, the kind of meal meant to anchor someone, to remind them of where they were. Casper lay beneath the table, tail thumping once when a piece of bread slipped and fell. The old woman watched them eat, her gaze steady, her posture relaxed but attentive. "You're Ben's nieces," she said finally. Her sister nodded. The woman wiped her hands on her apron. "He used to sit right there, always the same booth," she pointed. Neither of them spoke. The woman nodded, as if that was answer enough. They walked home as the light began to thin, the afternoon fading into something cooler. Shadows stretched across the road. The town felt quieter than it should have. Shops were closed, windows dark. Even the air seemed to carry less sound. They were almost back when they saw him. John stood near the corner, one hand in his pocket coffee in another, looking strikingly like Uncle Ben. Not waiting, not leaving, just there. He recognized them immediately. Recognition passed quickly. Then something else settled in its place, something tighter, sharper. "Didn't expect to see you back," he said. Casper stepped slightly forward, placing himself just ahead of her knee. John glanced down at him, then back at them. "You were in town," he said, not a question. Her sister nodded. He looked past them, toward the house, then away again. Whatever sat between him and Uncle Ben remained unresolved. They felt it, both of them, but they didn't understand it. John stepped aside. They walked on. Her sister remarked, "Hasn't he changed? What happened to him?" "Yes," she said, reminiscing. "Life happened to him." Her sister. That night, the house was quiet. Too quiet. She woke once without knowing why. Casper was already awake, sitting upright at the foot of the bed, ears angled toward the hallway. From somewhere in the house came the soft sound shifting, just once. In the morning, the office door was closed. Her sister packed at dawn. "I'm heading out," she said. There was no explanation. None was needed. They hugged at the door, holding on longer than usual. Casper sat between them, tail sweeping the floor once, then going still. Her sister left. the house remained, and somewhere in the house, the photograph stayed where it had always been, waiting. After her sister left for the city, the house settled differently. It wasn't emptier, just quieter in a way that lingered. Sounds didn't disappear, they stretched. Footsteps echoed longer. Silence felt layered. Casper noticed it first. He followed her from room to room more closely, slept nearer to the door at night, lifted his head whenever the floorboards spoke. The restaurant waited. It sat at the edge of town, dark behind its windows, dust softening its outlines. She unlocked it one afternoon and stood there for a long time without stepping inside, keys still in her hand. It smelled like old oil, wood, and something sweet that had soaked too deep into the walls to ever leave. She started small, cleaning first, then fixing, then repainting what didn't need repainting just to feel like something was moving forward. She worked alone most days, radio low, sleeves rolled up, hands constantly dirty. Casper lay in the doorway, watching the street. Sometimes she felt like she was being watched too, but whenever she turned, there was nothing there. That was when the bell rang. She turned. The diner woman stood just inside the doorway, her face partly hidden behind a folded napkin. Only her eyes were visible, sharp, measuring. "Oh," she said, lowering the napkin slightly. "You're really doing it." "Yes," she replied. The woman stepped inside, slow and careful, like someone entering a place that might argue back. She looked around without touching anything. "People don't like change," she said. "I know." The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "This town likes things the way they are." "You'll learn," she added. She wiped her nose again. "Just a dust allergy, honey." She smirked and left. The bell rang too long after her. Casper stood and watched the doorway until the sound faded. She met John later, near the edge of town, where the road thinned and the trees pressed closer. He noticed her immediately. He always did. "You're reopening it," he said. "Yes." He nodded once, too sharply. She hesitated, then said it anyway. "The diner woman doesn't seem happy about it." That was when his expression changed. He stopped walking. "What did you say?" he asked. She repeated herself, slower this time. John laughed once, not kindly. "You're a city girl," he said. "You don't know this town." She frowned. "I grew up here." "Once a year?" He turned to face her fully now, voice rising despite himself. "You don't know the forest," he said. "You don't know what it keeps. You don't know why there are fewer people every year. You don't know why the ones who leave never come back." "Then teach me," she said. Casper moved closer to her leg. John ran a hand through his hair, breath uneven. "You shouldn't complain," he said. "Not about this place. Not about her. You don't know anything. The diner has been here even before we were born. She took care of me after my mother's passing." Silence stretched between them. She didn't argue. She watched him turn away. Her sister arrived the evening before reopening. No warning, just the sound of the car outside and then the door opening. They hugged in the kitchen, long and tight. "I couldn't let you do this alone," her sister said. They worked late into the night. The menu changed 3 times. Arguments stayed quiet. Decisions were made with glances more than words. In the end, they chose what felt right, not what felt safe. Casper slept beneath the counter, exhausted by proximity. The restaurant filled slowly. Old faces first, curious ones, people who remembered and people who only pretended to. The diner owner came by, stood in the doorway longer than necessary. John arrived later. He stood near the back, watching. Their eyes met briefly. Something passed between them. Not resolved, not named, just acknowledged. Casper lay near the door. The bell rang. Plates moved. Voices rose. The restaurant was alive again.
By the time the doors opened, 3 copper pots sit in a neat, self-important row, each perched on its own small flame like it's being honored individually. Their hammered sides catch the warm light, glowing softly, the kind of glow that suggests patience, slow cooking, and someone who refuses to rush soup. Steam barely lifts from the surface, carrying the promise of cream, herbs, and quiet comfort. Ladles rest inside, handles tilted outward, waiting to be claimed. In front of them, bread takes over the table. Thick slices, torn ends, crusts crackled just enough to make noise when broken. Long breadsticks are stacked carelessly, already missing a few because restraint clearly lost this battle earlier. The table there's a quiche at the center, golden and puffed, the crust crimped with care. The filling is dense and savory, studded with bits of ham and green herbs, the surface blistered just enough to promise richness without apology. There's smoked salmon arranged in silky folds, coral pink and translucent, paired with cucumbers, tomatoes, capers, and a generous bowl of cream cheese that's already been disturbed. Toast waits underneath, ready to be layered into something excessive and correct. Cakes sit elevated, like they know they're the reason everyone showed up. A cinnamon roll cake spills thick white icing down its sides, glossy and unapologetic, already pulling the eye before anything else gets a chance. Nearby, a pale lemon cake rests under a glass dome, its glaze catching the light, thin slices of citrus arranged on top like quiet decoration that absolutely wants attention. And then there are the cupcakes. They were brought by the sweet bakery lady, the kind of woman who insists dessert comes even when nobody asked for it. The cupcakes smell like vanilla and sugar and a little nostalgia, like she wrapped reassurance in butter and flour and set it down quietly, hoping no one would argue with it. The restaurant filled slowly, then all at once. People leaned back in booths they hadn't sat in for years. Elbows found familiar grooves in the tables. Conversations overlapped, voices rising and falling like they remembered how to do this. Plates moved from kitchen to counter to hands that hesitated, then committed. Someone closed their eyes after the first bite of soup. Someone else asked for seconds without apology. A man at the corner table pointed at the food and said, "I forgot how hungry this place makes you." Casper lay near the door, accepting scraps with dignity. Her sister moved between tables easily, refilling water, touching shoulders, smiling in that quiet way that meant she was proud without needing to say it. The bell above the door rang again and again. Each time, the room lifted its head, then relaxed, like it had learned to trust the sound. It wasn't loud joy. It was steadier than that. The kind of satisfaction that comes from warmth spreading outward, from hands resting on mugs, from plates scraped clean without embarrassment. The restaurant didn't feel new. It felt returned. John stood at the bar with a beer in his hand,
the glass sweating against his palm. He had already eaten, too much probably. He watched her move between tables, steady and focused, like the room belonged to her now. When she finally stopped beside him, he cleared his throat. "I owe you an apology," he said, eyes fixed on the label. "I was angry. Not at you, really. At everything." He took a short drink, then added, "Doesn't excuse it." She studied him for a moment, not smiling, not frowning, just listening. "This place matters to you," she said. "I get that." He nodded. "Yeah, and so do you, whether I was acting like it or not." Outside, someone pushed the door open, and cold evening air slipped in. Forest air, pine and damp earth, drifting all the way to the bar. John glanced toward it, then back at her. "You know," he said, quieter now, "city girl can become a Timbers girl. Like it's a costume you put on." He shrugged. "Truth is, you can be both. Or neither. Town doesn't care. Forest doesn't either." She laughed softly at that. "That's comforting, coming from you." He smiled, just a little. "I'm not great with speeches, but I'm good at showing up. If you'll have me." Around them, the restaurant kept breathing. Opening night, finally alive. And somewhere between the noise and the quiet beyond the trees, something like a friendship began.